G'day Australia, I'm Coram E. Today I'm at Audiocom Mobile Electronics in Osborne Park, Western Australia, where I'm explaining something pretty important about upgrading the audio system on a 200 series Landcruiser VX. So what you've got happening in a lot of late model vehicles, including this particular one, is a slightly above average audio system from factory where the vehicle has a three-way active, three-way active speaker system. Now, what this means is we can't just slap an amp in it the old-fashioned way, because I'll explain in a moment what's happening with these channels, but basically the frequencies are separated between these three channels, so we don't have the right inputs to go into an amplifier to amplify and then put some aftermarket speakers in. Now this customer has come to us and wanted upgraded aftermarket sound, which we can do. So we've got a focal amplifier which has gone in under the seat, I'll show you in a moment, and focal ISU 6x9 splits in the front, so a 6x9 inch driver in the door and a replacement tweeter up the top here, and then in the rear we've done the ICU 6.5 inch round speakers for the rear doors, which fit straight in with the relevant adapters. Really good audio system, really good little compact amplifier, but we cannot link it directly to the audio unit like we would in a regular 4-channel car because of those active three-way systems. The outputs from the factory head unit have been changed and adjusted by the factory system. Now I'll explain that a little bit here. What I've got here is a cool little diagram from the product that we used to solve the problem. Now you'll see across the top of this diagram we've got a bit of an indication of the spectrum, the frequency spectrums, and this diagram is the perfect representation of what's going on in the car. So you'll see on the far right here, try to make sure I don't mix up the rights and the lefts with the camera lens. So on the far left, the sub channel only has the lower frequencies present, and then the mid channel, the middle image at the top there, only has the middle frequencies present, and then the top image on the top right there only has the high frequencies present. Now this is an exact representation of what's happening with the low range driver, the mid range driver, and then the tweeter up in the A pillar. That's exactly what's happening with this. Now we can't just connect our amplifier to any one of those channels because it'll only amplify part of the frequency spectrum, not the low, not the mid, not the high, only the part. What we need to do is collect all those together with a summing input converter, which is what the middle picture is all about, which presents then a full frequency spectrum that we can pass on to the amplifier to amplify and push into the speakers. Now let's have a little look at the product that we've fitted in this particular car. So this is an AirPro summing input converter called the APU8 Sum. It's a good little product and does this job quite nicely. It has multiple inputs at this end where we can bring in the tweeter inputs, the mid-range inputs, and the low-range inputs, and then it sums them together via various configurations with some switches inside and on top, and then it gives us a good old-fashioned full-range RCA output that goes to the compact amp, which we've got tucked right down under here. We've yet to fasten all this in. The boys are going to bolt this down and then bolt the seat down over it shortly. But when all those are fastened, there'll be a nice secure little solution with well amplified audio pushing good clean power into these new speakers. But you basically cannot do this system in this particular car and other ones with three-way active front speakers without a product like this. There's a few out there. This is a good basic one. There's some other ones we do in the Audiocom stores called the Link 4 and the Link 6 by WaveTech, and then there's more advanced ones as well, which are actually the preference, like the JBL 8-channel digital signal processor / amplifier. It does that all in one, whereas this is two different components. The JBL DSP is actually all of that in one, amplifier and summing signal input processor together. So that's the ideal product to use, but those sort of guys are over $1,000, about 1,500 fitted, whereas ones like this, you're getting away with $300 or $400 for that little guy supplied and fitted as a part of the install. So a bit more cost friendly there. Now we've actually got this all tuned and tested and power up, and it absolutely slaps. I won't bother playing it because this microphone on this camera simply won't do it justice, but it hammers with that extra power and the 6x9 splits in the front doors. It's a really nice sounding system. The way to look out for this type of car, if you're wondering if your car has this, it's a bit of a dead giveaway if you have a three-way speaker system. So if there's a mid-bass driver down in the door, some Porsches and Volkswagens have this layout. A lot of late model BMWs and Mercs have the same layout, and of course the some of the 200 series Land Cruisers. And then with a a mid driver here and a tweeter here. Now just check, because in some cars like the Toyota 86, they have a mesh grille up on the dash, but there's actually no speaker in there at all whatsoever. So just by having three mesh grills in your door and dash doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a three-way active speaker. So have a bit of a closer look. If you're unsure, definitely go and see your local car stereo shop specialist, who will be able to check your car and let you know. And they'll probably have in stock these summing input converters, because they're becoming more and more common. We have to fit them in a lot of late model cars to get the right sound out of the factory system. But there you have it. That's what you need to do if you have a Toyota Landcruiser 200 series with the advanced three-way audio system on it, which all the VX models do, and a lot of other late model European vehicles have this as well. And you must put in a summing input converter to sum those 1, 2, 3 bandpass channels from the front into regular RCA outputs for your amplifier. Otherwise you just will not get good quality sound. You'll either be missing high frequencies or low frequencies, or a combination of both. A bit of disaster. Hope you learned something here today. I hope that helps you plan out your system. If you're a bit unsure, always go and see a local professional. In the links below, you can find your local Car Audio Masters store. Audiocom is, of course, a Car Audio Masters member at all of our locations in Western Australia. Come in and see us. We'll build a great system for you. Or get in contact if you're trying to put something together for yourself DIY, and we can set you up with a summing input converter that you'll need to get the job done right. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I want to see you here again on the channel soon.